Hi there, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I made a living as an artist, and now that I'm as old as dirt and fart dust, my artwork has become more of a hobby, even though I still do the odd commission. In a sense, right from picking up a crayon, most likely after I didn't have to wear diapers any longer, I progressed to a brush. And I never really had to grow up. No, lucky me. My artistic talents and far-out imagination allowed me to earn a good living. Take this YouTube video of mine, for instance. I've always been a big fan of old Wild West movies, even when the good guys wore white and the bad guys wore black. However, I have to admit, when they pulled out their guitars, like Gene Autry and Roy Rogers, yeah, I go back that far. Yep. And they start singing as they ride off into the sunset, it doesn't quite do it for me. Movies like Unforgiven, starring Clint Eastwood and Morgan Freeman, and The Wild Bunch, starring William Holden, and of course High Noon, starring the legendary actor Gary Cooper, really grabbed me by the britches. And to me, it just doesn't get any better than the good old shoot-'em-up spaghetti western, like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, starring Clint Eastwood, Lee Van Cleef, and Eli Wallach, which hit the theaters in 1966, when I was just a young man, only 24 years old, so far back. Although these actors could no longer star in this sequel that formed in my imagination, especially since Eastwood is now too old to mount a horse, and the other two have bit the dust, which would be titled The Good, the Bad, and the Pretty. I'm certain there are a lot of good actors out there these days that could fill their boots. I'm quite certain a director wouldn't have any difficulty finding an actor to mimic Eastwood's confident, cunning sneer and Van Cleef's cold, deadly stare. But no more of the ugly, no. Wallach's role would be replaced by a sexy actress, but just as deadly with two blazing sex guns. Or even if she wasn't a dead-eye shot, just by the way she's dressed, in a very sexy, provocative, and revealing costume of that era, would be an enormous distraction for any gunslinger going up against her at high noon. I can just imagine the electricity that would be created between the good and the pretty. Could even be some wild, steamy sex scenes, and of course they would join forces against the bad. And just to put a different slant on the movie, perhaps the pretty would be the main star, hero or heroine, rather than the good. Besides exciting deadly shootouts, riding horses with thunderous hooves, cannons blasting away, and hand-to-hand combat. No karate though. No, none of that stuff. Also, instead of a Civil War backdrop, perhaps the Mexican Revolution from 1910 to 1920 would be a more fitting setting, with key figures like Pancho Villa and Zapata playing parts. Plus the pretty gunslinger, instead of a well-endowed shapely gringo chick, should be a sexy, black-eyed, black-haired senorita, someone like the talented Selma Hayek. Penelope Cruz would do justice to the part as well, in my estimation. Yeehaw! The more this movie keeps flashing through my mind, the more I think this could be a really very exciting Wild West film. Especially when a gorgeous senorita will be playing the pretty. I'm thinking my imaginative concept of her overall appearance, the way I'll be drawing her, will be a little too much for the movie, or should I say a little too less, if you get my drift, when she is barely wearing anything more than a wide sombrero, a very revealing low-cut top, and knee-high black boots with stiletto heels that might be as deadly as the 2 6-guns strapped to her shapely hips. And you know, believe it or not, everyone can draw and everyone can write. Maybe not as well as others, but that doesn't mean a person can't get any enjoyment out of it. I mean, way back when, I started out drawing stickmen, and although they looked like crap to me, they allowed me to act out my imagination. I write stories and poetry too, and as long as I don't fret about having them published, they give me a lot of pleasure. So if you're getting old, or as old as me, or older, then grab yourself a pencil or a pen and start sketching and writing. You might just be surprised by the results. And oh yeah, don't bother with an eraser. Toss it out. Just let the magic flow. Anyway, that's about it for my YouTube video. And if some Hollywood director out there just happened to watch it, drop me a comment. And maybe we can get together on the script. I have loads of ideas. As if that's going to happen. Also, if anyone out there in cyberspace likes this old man's rant, feel free to give it a like or even subscribe to my channel. I mean, how else can I get rich and famous? Cheers, eh?